The Great Hall of the Galactic Defense Academy was filled with excitement and quiet whispers. Rows of cadets sat in neat lines, their eyes fixed on the large hollow screen hanging at the front of the room. The Academy was a place where the best young minds from many worlds trained to protect the galaxy. Today was special. The leaders had gathered the cadets to show them a story of a great warrior who had saved thousands in a terrible battle. The room was bright with light and colors from the hollow screen. The clip began with the sounds of blaster fire and explosions echoing in the background. The image showed a fierce battle on a rocky, dusty planet. Huge warships hovered above, firing powerful weapons. Ground forces fought desperately, and many soldiers were falling. Then, the camera focused on a single figure moving swiftly across the battlefield. The figure was a human, a young warrior wearing simple armor, not much different from what the cadets wore. The warrior moved with purpose, using quick thinking and sharp moves. They ducked behind rocks, fired with precision, and helped wounded soldiers get to safety. The cadets watched in silence. The warrior was calm and brave, almost, like a shadow that no enemy could catch. One by one, the warrior took down enemy troops who seemed twice as strong and better armed. The battle was not going well for the humans and their allies, but this one person changed everything. The clip showed the warrior running toward a large enemy weapon, a kind of giant cannon aimed at the human base. With no hesitation, the warrior climbed the machine, dodged enemy guards, and destroyed it. The explosion was huge. The enemy was shocked. Without their main weapon, their attack slowed. The humans and their allies fought back hard, pushing the enemy away. The clip ended with the warrior standing tall on a hill, looking at the sunrise. The music was soft but full of hope. The room was quiet for a moment. Everyone was still, thinking about what they had just seen. Then the head of the academy stepped forward. He smiled proudly and said, "This is the story of Captain Jalen Merrick, a true hero of the galaxy, a human who showed courage and strength when the whole universe needed it." The crowd applauded loudly. Many cadets whispered the name with respect and admiration. Captain Jalen Merrick was famous for this battle. His name was known across star systems as a symbol of hope and bravery. Suddenly, a soft voice broke the noise. A young cadet sitting near the back raised a hand shyly. "That's me," the cadet said quietly. The room froze. All eyes turned to the cadet. Murmurs spread quickly. "What? That can't be true. No way a rookie did that. Are they joking?" The young cadet looked nervous but calm. Their name was Jalen too, Jalen Wren. Unlike the famous captain, Wren was just starting their training and had no great achievements yet. Many saw Wren as ordinary, not a warrior or hero. The head of the academy paused and said, "You mean to tell us Captain Jalen Merrick is you?" "Yes, sir," Wren answered, voice steady. "I am the one in the clip." Gasps filled the hall. Officers exchanged confused looks. Some leaned forward, trying to see if this was some kind of trick or joke. But Wren's eyes were honest and strong. A senior officer stood up. "Cadet Wren, please come forward. Tell us how this happened. How could you be the captain in that battle?" Jalen Wren stood and walked to the front. The hall was silent again, every person waiting. Wren took a deep breath and began. "It was 2 years ago. I was fresh from training, sent to the front lines with little experience. The battle was on a planet called Varnus, a harsh world with red skies and jagged rocks. Our forces were outnumbered and losing fast. The enemy was a brutal species called the Krelix. They were strong, fast, and had powerful weapons." Wren's voice grew stronger with each word. "I had no special skills, no advanced weapons, just a simple blaster and my wits. The commanders thought I was a nobody, just a cadet sent to help. But I knew if we lost that battle, the whole sector would fall." Wren paused, eyes scanning the room. I watched the battle carefully. I saw patterns in the enemy's attacks. They were confident but not perfect. They repeated mistakes. I used that to plan small strikes to slow them down. The cadets listened, spellbound. Rin continued. I helped a squad trapped in the open, guiding them to safety. I destroyed enemy supply lines with traps and quick attacks. When the main weapon aimed at our base was ready to fire, I took a chance. I climbed the machine, fought off guards, and destroyed it. The senior officer nodded. That was an incredible feat for anyone, let alone a cadet. Rin smiled humbly. I didn't do it alone. I learned from my fellow soldiers, humans and aliens alike. We worked as one, trusting each other. And I never gave up, even when hope seemed lost. The room was filled with a new respect. The idea that a young, unknown cadet had done such things inspired many. Some older officers began to see Jalen Rin differently, not just as a rookie, but as a rising star. After the speech, the academy commander spoke again. Today, you showed us what true bravery is, not just skill, but heart and determination. Cadet Rin, you remind us all why humanity is strong. The crowd erupted in applause. Jalen Rin felt a strange mix of pride and nervousness. The journey ahead would be harder now. Many would watch closely, expecting great things. But for the first time, Rin believed that even the smallest person could change the course of history. As the crowd began to leave, cadets came forward to shake Rin's hand or ask questions. Some looked inspired, others doubtful, but no one ignored the quiet human who claimed to be the warrior in the clip. Outside the hall, the twin suns of the space station shone brightly. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but for one small, human cadet, the path was clear. This was just the beginning. The day after the ceremony, the academy buzzed with quiet excitement and questions. Everyone wanted to know more about the cadet who had shocked them all. Jalen Rin's name was on every lip. Some called it a miracle. Others called it impossible. But no one could ignore the truth. Jalen woke early, feeling the weight of the new attention. The peaceful moments of training were gone. Now every step was watched. Some cadets looked at Jalen with respect, others with doubt or jealousy. In the training hall, Jalen's closest friend, Aaron, a tall alien with blue skin and sharp eyes, came over. So, Aaron said, you really did it? You saved thousands on Varnus? How? Jalen smiled but didn't answer right away. It wasn't just me, Jalen said. I was lucky to have good teammates. And I learned fast. The battle was a nightmare, but I had to find a way. Aaron nodded. You're not like the others. You think differently. That's why they say humans are unpredictable. Jalen looked out the window at the stars. Maybe. I guess we don't have the same rules. We don't follow old ways just because they exist. We try new things, even if they seem strange. Later that day, Jalen was called to the commander's office. Commander Velin was a tall, strict woman with silver hair and a sharp voice. She had led many battles and was respected by all. Cadet Rin, she said, your story has spread quickly. I want to understand how you survived that battle with no experience and limited resources. Jalen took a deep breath. Commander, I was scared like everyone else, but I knew that if I froze, I would die. So I kept moving. I watched the enemy's patterns. They were strong, but they made mistakes. Commander Valen raised an eyebrow. Explain. The Kralix, Jalen said, were confident but predictable. They attacked in waves, always following the same route. I used that to set traps and lure small groups into ambushes. Valen listened closely. Sounds like guerrilla tactics. Jalen nodded. Yes, but we had no time for long plans. It was quick thinking. I used the terrain, rocks, and narrow paths to slow them. Then I helped my squad retreat safely. Valen frowned. And the giant cannon? Jalen smiled faintly. That was the hardest part. The weapon was guarded by many Kralix soldiers. I waited for a chance, then climbed the machine when they were distracted. I destroyed it with a charge. It was risky, but it worked. Velan studied Jalen's face, seeing the truth in those eyes. You showed courage, and more than that, creativity and willpower. After the meeting, Velan called in the senior instructors. This cadet is an example of what humanity can do. Their thinking is different. We must learn from it. Word spread quickly. Other species at the academy began to pay attention to humans. Many had believed humans were weak and simple. But Jalen's story challenged that idea. In the mess hall, Jalen sat quietly, eating alone. A group of young aliens approached, led by a sharp-eyed female named Sarah. She was from the Vishari, a proud warrior race. "We heard about your battle," Sarah said. "Impressive, but I wonder, how does a rookie survive where veterans fall?" Jalen looked up and met her eyes. "Maybe because I didn't think like a veteran. I wasn't afraid to try new things or take risks." Sarah smiled. "That is human spirit, then, unpredictable and bold." From that day, Jalen's reputation grew. More cadets came to listen, asking questions about human tactics and mindset. Jalen spoke about the strength of teamwork, of never giving up even when hope seems lost. One night, Jalen sat with Aaron under the stars on the academy's observation deck. "Do you think I'm ready for what comes next?" Jalen asked quietly. Aaron looked at Jalen with calm eyes. "You already faced what many cannot. But the galaxy is bigger and darker than Varnus. You will need more than courage. You will need allies, training, and a strong mind." Jalen nodded slowly. "I know. I feel the weight of it. But I want to be ready. Not just for myself, but for everyone who believes in us." As days passed, the academy grew busier. Training became harder. Jalen was no longer just a cadet. Now, many looked to Jalen as a leader, a symbol of human strength and hope. But there were challenges, too. Some officers whispered that Jalen was lucky, that the clip was edited to make things look better. Some rivals tried to prove Jalen wrong. During combat drills, Jalen faced tough tests. Some alien cadets doubted human skills. They challenged Jalen to prove the stories were true. One day, during a simulated battle, Jalen's squad was outnumbered and trapped. Using what was learned on Varnus, Jalen ordered an unexpected move. Splitting forces, using the terrain, and quick strikes, the squad escaped and won the drill. Even the harshest critics had to admit that Jalen's leadership was, real. The academy commander called Jalen again. "You have the spirit of a warrior and the mind of a strategist, but the galaxy is watching. You will face enemies who want to break your will." Jalen looked determined. "I am ready to fight, not just for me, but for all humans and our allies." The commander smiled. "Good, because soon you will meet the true test." Far away in the dark reaches of space, a new threat was gathering. An alien warlord known for cruelty and power was watching the rise of humanity with anger. They saw humans as weak and unworthy of their place in the galaxy. Jalen's story was just beginning. The academy, the galaxy, and even enemies would soon learn what it truly meant to face a human warrior. The Galactic Defense Academy was a place of learning, discipline, and challenge. Many species trained there, each with their own strengths and customs. But humans, with their short history among the stars, were often underestimated. Many believed humans were fragile and unpredictable, sometimes brave, sometimes reckless. Jalen Rin's story was changing those views. The clip shown at the ceremony was only one small part of a larger truth. Humans had a hidden strength that others did not understand fully. It was more than weapons or training. It was their spirit, their will to survive and adapt no matter what. As days passed, news of Jalen's story spread across the academy and beyond. Officers from different species discussed the meaning behind it. Commander Velan, who had once doubted, now studied human history and tactics closely. One afternoon, Velen sat in her office with a group of alien officers. The room was quiet except for their soft voices. "The humans," Velen began, "have no great numbers or the most advanced technology, but they survive and often win where others fail." An older alien with green scales and deep eyes nodded. "Their greatest weapon is their mind. They do not follow fixed rules or traditions. They create new ways on the fly." Another officer added, "They learn fast. They work in teams that trust each other deeply. It is rare to see such unity across species, but humans do it naturally." Valen looked thoughtful. "Jalen Rin is a perfect example. A young cadet with no noble blood or special training changed the course of a battle. It was not just luck. It was human creativity, courage, and stubbornness." Back in the Academy's training grounds, Jalen felt the change too. More cadets, even from other species, approached to ask about human tactics. Many wanted to understand how a simple human could stand against deadly foes. One day, Jalen led a mixed group of cadets from different worlds in a combat exercise. The team included Aaron, the blue-skinned alien, Sarah, the Vishari warrior, and Tilo, a small but fast creature from the planet Zorn. The exercise was designed to test teamwork and strategy. The group had to find a way through a simulated enemy base filled with traps and guards. Many groups tried and failed. Jalen studied the map carefully. "We don't have to attack head-on," Jalen said. "Let's use the shadows and distractions. Aaron, you create noise on the west side. Sarah and I will sneak through the east. Tilo, you watch for patrols and warn us." The plan was risky, but smart. The team moved quietly. Aaron's loud noises drew enemy guards away. Sarah and Jalen slipped past defenses. Tilo's quick signals helped avoid surprises. They reached the target room and captured it without alerting the whole base. The instructors watching were impressed. After the exercise, Sarah smiled at Jalen. "You think differently. You see the battlefield like a puzzle, not a fight. That is human strength." Jalen shrugged. "Maybe we just don't believe the impossible is impossible." Later, in the Academy library, Jalen studied ancient human stories. Tales of explorers, inventors, and fighters who had survived against all odds. Jalen realized that the same spirit that helped humans survive on Earth was now helping in space. Not all aliens were happy about this. Some saw humans as a threat to their power and traditions. There were whispers of jealousy and fear. One alien, Captain Makar, leader of the fierce Zalnor warriors, openly mocked humans. "They are lucky to have primitive tricks, but when real war comes, they will break." Jalen heard these words and felt the challenge, but it only made the resolve stronger. The galaxy was vast, and many dangers lurked beyond. But humanity's hidden strength, their ability to adapt, learn, and fight with heart, was a force growing in power. Back in the Academy, Jalen met with Commander Velan again. "You have the gift of leadership, but also the burden," Velan said. "Many will test you, try to break you." Jalen nodded. "I am ready." "Humans never stop, no matter how hard the fight." Velan smiled. "Good, because soon your skills will be needed more than ever." Far from the Academy, in the dark reaches of space, the new threat grew. The warlord known as Kargath the Cruel watched the rise of humanity with hatred. Kargath commanded fleets that crushed worlds and crushed hope. He believed humans were weak and would be the first to fall. But Kargath did not know what Jalen and humanity were truly capable of. As the story of a single human warrior spread across the stars, many began to whisper a new truth. Humans might be small, but their spirit was mighty. The galaxy was about to learn that underestimating humanity was the greatest mistake it could make. The galaxy was not quiet for long. News of the human warrior, Jalen Rin, and their bravery on Varnis had spread across many star systems. Some celebrated the rising strength of humans, while others watched with growing fear. Among those watching was a warlord known as Kargath the Cruel. His name brought fear to many worlds. He ruled a vast fleet of deadly warships and commanded fierce armies known for destroying entire planets. Kargath had heard the stories of humans and their strange, unpredictable strength. He laughed when he first heard them. "Humans are weak," he said to his generals. "Their victories are accidents. I will crush them and their allies." But Kargath was wrong to underestimate humanity. At the Galactic Defense Academy, Jalen and other cadets continued their training, unaware at first of the danger approaching. The academy was a place of learning and preparation, but soon it would become a front line. One day, during a strategy lesson, the instructors announced alarming news. Kargath's forces had begun moving closer to the human and allied territories. Small battles had already broken out near the outer colonies. The time for defense was near. Commander Valen called Jalen to her office. "This warlord is unlike any enemy we have faced before," she said. "His forces are large, well-trained, and brutal. He wants to destroy humans and their allies." Jalen listened carefully. The weight of the threat pressed down like a heavy cloud. But instead of fear, determination burned bright in Jalen's eyes. "We cannot wait to be attacked," Jalen said. "We must prepare and strike first if possible. We need to learn everything we can about Kargath's forces." Valen nodded. "I agree. You will lead a special squad to gather intelligence. You will have members from different species. Trust in your team and your instincts." Jalen was both honored and nervous. Leading such a mission was dangerous. But it was also a chance to prove human strength and teamwork. The squad was chosen carefully. Aaron, the blue-skinned alien, was a skilled scout and fighter. Sarah, the proud Vishari warrior, was fierce and loyal. Tilo, from the small but fast Zorn species, was an expert in stealth and technology. Together with Jalen, they formed a strong and diverse team. Their mission was to enter Kargath's territory, gather information on his fleet and bases, and sabotage where possible. It was a dangerous task, deep behind enemy lines. As the squad prepared, Jalen spent time with each member. They shared stories, learned about each other's cultures, and built trust. This team was not just about fighting, it was about unity. When the day came, the squad boarded a small stealth ship. The engines hummed quietly as they slipped through space, invisible to enemy sensors. Inside the ship, Jalen looked at the faces of the team. "Remember," Jalen said, "we are not just soldiers. We are a symbol of what humans and their allies can do together. Stay sharp and trust each other." The journey was tense. Kargath's patrols were frequent and deadly, but the squad used their skills and worked as one. Aaron's scouting found safe paths. Tilo's hacking disabled enemy sensors. Sarah's combat skills kept them safe in close fights. They reached the enemy's outer base. From a distance, they saw massive warships and thousands of troops. Kargath's power was real and terrifying. Jalen studied the enemy movements. "We can't fight them head-on," Jalen said. "We need to disrupt their supplies and communications." The team planned carefully. Under cover of darkness, they sneaked into the base. Tilo hacked the communication tower, sending false signals and confusion through the enemy lines. Aaron set traps along supply routes. Sarah led silent strikes against key targets. The sabotage caused chaos. Enemy ships moved blindly. Supplies stopped flowing. The base was thrown into disorder, but their actions were noticed. Kargath's forces sent patrols to find the attackers. The squad was forced into a desperate escape. Fighting through waves of enemies, Jalen led the team with calm and quick decisions. They used every skill, every trick learned in training and battle. The squad was outnumbered, but never outmatched. One point, Sarah was injured, but the team refused to leave her behind. Jalen carried her while the others fought off attackers. This act of loyalty and courage bound them even closer. After a tense chase through enemy territory, the squad reached their ship. The engines roared as they jumped to hyperspace, escaping just in time. Back at the academy, the squad was welcomed as heroes. Their mission had slowed Kargath's advance and bought precious time for the galaxy to prepare. But the threat was far from over. Jalen felt the weight of what lay ahead. The war would test every skill, every bond, every bit of human strength and spirit. Kargath's hatred for humans grew. He sent his deadliest warriors to crush them. But Jalen knew that with courage, creativity, and unity, humans and their allies could stand against even the darkest enemy. The galaxy was watching, and the story of a young human cadet was becoming a legend. The galaxy held its breath. The warlord Kargath the Cruel had sent his forces in a massive attack against the human-allied planets. Entire star systems trembled under the shadow of his fleet. The time had come for humanity and their allies to show their true strength. Jalen Ryn stood on the bridge of the flagship Endurance, surrounded by the mixed crew of humans and aliens. The weight of command pressed heavily on the young cadet who had once been an unknown rookie. Now, Jalen was a leader, a symbol, a beacon of hope. The bridge was alive with activity, officers monitoring battle reports, technicians adjusting shields, and pilots preparing to engage the enemy. Outside the large viewport, Kargath's armada loomed, dark and terrible, ready to strike. Jalen took a deep breath. "This is it," they said quietly. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for the future of the galaxy." The Admiral nodded. "Your courage has brought us this far, Cadet." "Lead us well." The battle began with a roar of engines and weapons fire. Kargath's fleet unleashed devastating attacks, testing every shield and defense. The Allied fleet responded with skill and determination, but the enemy's numbers and power were overwhelming. Jalen's mind raced, recalling every lesson learned, from the rocky battlefields of Varnes to the stealth mission behind enemy lines. The key was to be unpredictable, to use every weakness of the enemy. "Divert power to forward shields," Jalen ordered. "Send a squadron to flank their left wing. Aaron, you lead the strike team. Sarah, prepare ground forces for a landing on the enemy's command ship." The crew moved with precision. Jalen watched as the battle unfolded, ships twisting and turning in deadly dances of fire and metal. The flanking squadron, led by Aaron, struck swiftly, taking enemy ships by surprise. Sarah's ground forces landed on the command ship, fighting fiercely to disable its control systems. But Kargath was no fool. He anticipated the tactics and unleashed his secret weapon, a massive warship known as the Doombringer, bristling with weapons and shielded by energy barriers. The Doombringer opened fire, tearing into the Allied fleet. Ships exploded in fiery bursts. The battle seemed to tip toward disaster. Jalen's heart pounded. "We can't hold like this," they said. "We need a new plan." Suddenly, an idea came. Jalen remembered the courage and creativity that had saved them before. "Prepare the stealth ship," Jalen commanded. "I'm going in." The officers looked shocked. "You can't go alone, Cadet." "I have to," Jalen said firmly. "This is my fight." The stealth ship slipped through enemy lines, cloaked and silent. Jalen piloted it personally, navigating the deadly battlefield. The target was the Doombringer's power core. If they could destroy it, the massive ship would be crippled. Jalen's hands moved quickly, dodging enemy fire. The ship's small size and speed were an advantage. Inside the Doombringer, Jalen planted explosives near the core. The seconds ticked by like hours. With a final push, Jalen escaped just as the charges detonated. The explosion was enormous. The Doombringer erupted in flames and debris, crashing into the enemy fleet. The tide of battle shifted. Kargath's forces faltered and began to retreat. Back on the Endurance, the crew cheered. Jalen's courage and skill had saved them all. Thea. War was not yet over, but a new hope had been born. In the days that followed, the galaxy celebrated Jalen Rin's heroism. The young human cadet had become a legend, inspiring soldiers and civilians alike. The Galactic Defense Academy named a training hall after Jalen, a place where future warriors would learn not just combat, but creativity, courage, and unity. Jalen stood once more in the Great Hall, now as a leader and teacher. Looking at new cadets, Jalen smiled. "Remember," they said, "anyone can be a hero. It's not about power or status, it's about heart, spirit, and the will to never give up." The story of Jalen Rin was just the beginning. Humanity's place in the galaxy was growing stronger every day, and the galaxy had learned a powerful truth: never underestimate the heart of a human warrior.